before we get started here, I want to kind of just give a little brief background for, especially for you, for new clients or potential new clients that I just want to give a little background on self-directing and why we started Horizon Trust Company. And then I want to introduce Ty after that and kind of dive into a deeper subject. So to get started first, at Horizon Trust Company, we are not a fiduciary. We're not a financial advisor. We are not attorneys. Our job as a licensed custodian is to really take direction from you on where you want to invest your funds. Typically, it's in the alternative asset space. We're going to talk about that today. But in general, our company is licensed by the banking division. We're audited every single year, and we do not make investment decisions on your behalf. But we do share different examples and things that people can do and more generalities and kind of real estate projects. I would say most of our clients do some kind of real estate. When I say real estate, that's a big gamut. Could be lending, could be equity, could be funds. But most of our clients are involved in some kind of real estate or Bitcoin or precious metals or investing in businesses. And this company we started 15 years ago. We have over $1 billion in assets, about 7,500 clients. And what our competitive, what's the loss of brain fart here, but advantage,
Advantage.
I would
Yeah.
say, compared to any other company, is our speed and customer service. There's nobody faster than us in our customer service. I believe there's nothing better as far as service goes. All trust companies, for the most part, are alike as far as what we can and cannot do. Our job is to report to the IRS contributions, distributions, values of accounts, and that's about it. And so we do look at documentation to make sure it's complete, but it's not our job to do any due diligence on the investments you make. So if you're listening to this for the first time, why would someone want to do this? Most people like to get involved in self-directing, which is basically the act of moving part of or all of your retirement account funds from wherever it might be over to our custodian, to our trust company. And then once it arrives with us at Horizon Trust Company, you're then allowed to invest in most kind of assets, unlike the traditional stock marketplace. And we're going to talk about that. So that being said, we record all of these. They all go also into our library, our investment corner library. So Ty's and I's today's webinar will go there as well. And Ty in particular, I've never had someone from this industry come speak, and I'm actually excited about this. Many of our clients work with you guys.
Yeah.
So the transition, as far as I'm going to have Ty introduce himself a little bit more than I will, but I want to introduce the subject here because I know Ryan's business partner really well. Well, I haven't seen him in a minute, but we used to work together. But what I want to share on this subject before we, as far as introducing it is, I would say 70% of our clients at Horizon Trust Company also have other accounts and assets that are in the stock market. And it ranges from, anywhere from 5,000 to millions of dollars in the stock market, but also have assets with us at Horizon Trust Company. And those clients, if you're listening to this, that have accounts also in the stock market, we don't pretend to play in that place, in that area of investing. But a lot of our clients do find a lot of comfort having somebody and or a company to help them in that place. And also somebody who understands self-directing, which I think is a very unique thing. Most advisors, most licensed financial advisors and RIAs might have heard of self-directing, but don't promote it, don't necessarily even support it, and don't really want that because it's not necessarily something they get paid on. There are few and few between that are licensed, understand it, and also can recommend it for certain asset classes and people that want to invest in real estate or in, alternative assets. Ty and Ryan, their firm, this is something that they actually play on, and they understand this. They are on the market side, but also understand the alternative asset side. And so Ty, if you want to give a little more background
Yeah.
on you in your company, let's kind of start there, and then we are gonna.
Okay.
Ty's got also a few slides he's going to share with everybody, and then we're going to talk about self-directing and also what Ty's company does and how that kind of works together. So Ty, I'll hand it to you here for a minute.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate you giving us the opportunity to be here and join you guys. And I'm really excited that yeah, we got to take a few minutes and chat with you, but also all these great people here on the webinar today. So, yeah, I love what you explained and how you really set the stage. You know, you guys are the custodian, you're there, and I'll echo that. I mean, you guys are amazing. I love how fast you guys are. I love how much you guys care for clients because so the regular custodial world that people are used to and the self-directed custodial world, they're two very different worlds. And I've been doing this, and I'll get into about myself in here in just a minute. In fact, I love doing these, right? You get to talk about yourself for 15-20 minutes, so it's great. No, but what I've learned is in that self-directed world, because I've been doing this since like 2008, 2009. I've been having building self-directed accounts for my clients. But yeah, not all self-directed custodians are created equal, not even close. And you guys are definitely the very, very, top of the hill, king of the mountain, and cream of the crop. So love working with you guys, and I love this opportunity to be able to share a little bit more where we can bring a little bit more, add a little bit more value for your clients and those people here on the webinar today. So yeah, and seriously, stop me anytime, Greg, if you've got questions or you want us to dive in a little deeper. But yeah, I'll let me share. Give me 1 second. I'm going to share a little PowerPoint slide here. We'll go through this in just a minute. So, okay, yeah, I'm Ty Hansen. My business partner, Ryan Robertson, we created Prosper, my Prosper team. Goodness, what, about 5-6 years ago? But really, it goes back actually to the dot-com bubble. So I finished my master's, my bachelor's, my master's of finance, and came into the financial world just as pets.com and all those companies were imploding, right? Millions of shares were worthless, worth nothing. I mean, maybe you could use them for toilet paper. I don't know. And obviously, a lot of money shifted towards real estate. And yeah, so I loved it. It was a great opportunity. In fact, the first company I was with, an independent firm here in Salt Lake City, Utah, we focused on private real estate syndications, Reg D offerings, and I loved it. Could not have picked a better place to, cut my teeth. In fact, one of the first projects I was involved in was a $35 million mixed use, industrial office. It was awesome. And yeah, so we brought a lot of monies in, and I started noticing that some of those monies were retirement dollars. So fast forward, I ended up starting my own firm, still affiliated with that group, in 2006. So I've been doing this since 2006. Prosper, we are a registered investment advisor. So Greg, I love how you lay that out. You guys are the custodian, we're the advisor, right? You're never, people are never going to give me money, and it's always going to come to you guys. But we're here to help really be that advocate. Where you're not a fiduciary, that's exactly what I am. So I'm licensed with the SEC. We're audited as well. In fact, we have some of our own private syndications. And because we offer private offerings and we're registered with the SEC, we actually go through the highest level of scrutiny that you can really go through. I like to tell people it's like every year we go through. Actually, it's more often than just every year, but we get root canals without Novocaine, right? That's how intense our audits are. It's pretty wild. So anyway, so yeah, so we're Prosper, and yeah, as advisors. So this is a tool I use. I love self-directing because as I started building my practice, I was like, hey, I want to make sure stocks and bonds are awesome. Don't get me wrong; it is a key piece to any portfolio. You want to have that piece, but it's not the end all be all. There are other, and I love, Greg, you came up or shared some awesome examples, right? Real estate, Bitcoin, precious metals. I mean, people that held precious metals in 2022, they were happy as clams, right? Gold shot through the roof, and you made good money. So when the markets were losing, right? And that is the exact point of all of this with working with Horizon Trust and having self-directed is I always use the silly analogy. It's like you own an umbrella company and a sunscreen company. So you don't care if it's raining or sunny. You're going to make money either way. And that's what I love about self-directing is it really opens that whole world up, to do a lot more stuff. So let's talk for just a little bit. And I want to make sure, Greg, you guys are seeing my screen okay, right? About what
Yep.
we do? Okay, perfect. Awesome. So yeah, we're fiduciaries. Now, I mean, I don't want to say we are the experts in self-directing, right? I mean, when it comes to the technicalities, Greg and his group couldn't be with a better place, right? Again, we love that because I don't want to have to worry about the technicalities of moving the money around. What I want to do work with clients that have self-directed monies and really help them make some of the best decisions that they can make. And that's who we are. As the advisor, that is literally my job. In fact, let me give you a quick example. So I have a client of mine who has a self-directed account, and it's Roth monies. So, and we also do a lot of tax planning. So if I geek out a little bit about Roth, you guys will bear with me, right? Using his self-directed monies. So this was what we're in May now. So this was end of quarter two, quarter three last year. He acquired a fourplex. Now, Greg, like you said, where you guys aren't really going to, you're not going to scrub that deal. You guys aren't really involved necessarily in the transaction. That's exactly what I do, because I love having these pieces in my client's portfolio. So this client, his name is Lauren. Lauren and I, we dove into a fourplex that he wanted to buy, right? Helped him kick the tires. We did the due diligence. We built a pro forma. We did that for him. And we didn't charge him a penny for all that, because that's part of our advisory services. Helped him with that, helped him build that, helped him put that inside of his self-directed account that, again, is a Roth. And that thing is cash flowing beautifully now. And he's over 59 and a half. So tax-free money, right? It's awesome. So that's what we like to do, is we like to work with a really good company like Horizon Trust, let you, the client, move your monies however and wherever you want. But we want to be here as that sounding board, because, and Greg, maybe you can attest to this. It's awesome to get in the self-directed world, but there's a lot of questions. There are a lot of technicalities. And my job, Greg's job, a little bit more so my job, we want to make sure that as you're making those financial decisions, that it works with those rules and regulations. So that's who we are. Again, we're an advisory firm, and we bring those two worlds together, right? We bring the old school stock and bond custodian and the Horizon Trusts of the world. We bring them together and make it so it's seamless for you guys. Again, Horizon, you guys have a great structure. You guys are I will attest to that. You guys are very fast. I like that. I'm a marathon runner, Greg. Ryan's the smart run. Ryan enjoys life, plays music, really talented guy. I have a mental deficiency for some reason. I love to run. So I go run. You guys are like efficient, like the Kenyan runners, right? You guys are fast. You guys are ahead of the curve, and I love it. So yeah, like we talked about, we kind of help as that co-pilot. We want to make sure that we help your clients, know what's going on, what we can do.
Hey, I'm gonna interrupt real quick here, Ty.
Please, anytime.
I think you're gonna cover I know you're gonna cover this actually, but I want to reiterate, as you're talking, this is
Yeah,
this just reminds me, for those of you that are listening, many people, at least weekly, will ask about, well, what do I do here, or how do I know that this was done correctly as far as my security in this investment, or if it's a good investment. That we can't say, hey, this is a good investment, or hey, yeah, this pencils out, or yes, the terms, or yes, the collateral. This closes the gap or the bridge for individuals that are saying, hey, I'm sick of the stock market, and maybe, or
yeah,
I'm sick of the returns and the volatility and the lack of service I get. I want to self-direct.
yeah,
And then we have a lot of clients, a lot of you probably that are listening, that then self-direct and put a portion with somebody or with some company that they know, like, and trust. And then another portion of your funds could be sitting with us, and you're just not sure what else to do or what's next, and you're a little bit nervous. This is somebody or a firm that you could potentially interview and see if it's the right fit. I know I'm getting to the end here a little bit, but I want to just reiterate, this is why, as I'm listening to you,
yeah.
there's so many people that weekly ask about this kind of service and help, and this is exactly what these guys do. So go ahead, Ty.
Oh,
Sorry.
no, I appreciate that. And Greg, I love that you bring that up, because you're right. A lot of the other, advisors out there, they don't know this. In fact, I've had experiences where other advisors are like, oh, you can't self-direct. That's illegal. It's against the IRS code. Show
Yeah.
me on the IRS code. And I'm like, okay, well, let me show you irs.gov right here. And yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you can
Yeah.
do this. They don't understand. And that's exactly right, where, I've always wanted to open that whole world up. But with, opening the whole world of investing up with real estate, for example, you're right. There is a lot more to it. It's not publicly traded. It's not regulated. There's not your K1, or sorry, your 10Ks, or your quarterly statements or anything like that coming out from analysts. And so, yeah, so that is why we're here. And I love that you bring that up too, because I will always say this: I'm not an attorney, I am not a CPA, but I've been doing this a long time, and I've worked with hundreds of CPAs and attorneys. And yeah, part of this might be, hey, I'm not 100% sure how to structure this contract, or if I want to do some work on my property on my own, can I do that? When we get these kinds of questions, again, we've got good real attorneys we work with, but we've seen it, we've talked about it, we know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's exactly right. That's what we're here doing, and it's working with you guys, your great team that you've got there, getting the money where it needs to be, and then maximizing every penny that we can. So to that point, I do want to take just 1 second, because I know a lot of the listeners and people on the webinar right now, either they've got another advisor, or yeah, they know that world. In fact, that's exactly how most people build their retirement, right? Or just set it, forget it, throw money into the stock market. I'm buying so much of the S&P 5, whatever, right? So we still do that at Prosper, right? We're independent. We've got monies with custodians. We've got money with Horizon Trust. Our clients do, but we still do manage part of that stock and bond. And that's one thing I like having as a compliment is there's nothing that I hate worse than when a client goes to self-direct and they're maybe the deal's coming down the road in 3 months, 6 months, whatever, and money just sits there. And that's where I'm like, hey, let's go to work, because essentially we've been able to create, especially like with a group like you guys, with the really good custodians, right? Just like you, Greg, you guys work with us, the good custodians that understand what we're doing, the value add we want to bring to the client. We help put all those dollars to work.
Mhm.
And let me give you a basic example, right? So I've got clients, I mean, millions and millions of dollars that, rather than sitting just as cash in some random account, we've been able to invest that. Now, we manage, and we actively manage. We don't just buy a mutual fund and set it and forget it. I want to jump into our costs in just a minute, but we don't set it and forget it. We are actively engaged in the market. I love the markets. I love being, involved. So let me give you an example of one other thing that we've helped a lot of clients with. So, Greg, what have the short-term treasuries been doing the last 2 years? What have you noticed in the industry?
Well, they've changed a lot in the last 2 years.
Right? They went from next to nothing
Yeah, to
to
way up.
way up. In fact, some may call it problematic because it's what we call an inverted yield curve. That's kind of a bad thing, but hey, you can always make money no matter what the weather is, right? Umbrellas and sunscreen.
Yeah,
As the short-term treasuries have been super high, I mean, we're talking like 5, 6%.
5%. Yeah.
And a 3-month treasury, for all intents and purposes, it's like a quarter step above cash, right? There's next to no risk on a 3-month treasury. And so, yeah, I mean, if your money's sitting there and you can be making 5, 6%, why shouldn't we be making 5 or 6% while we're waiting, right? That is exactly what we help you and your clients do. Is we let you guys put that money, we let the clients put that money to work. And oh, you want to do a new deal? Let us help you. We have worked crypto, precious metals. I helped a client fund part. They did part of a business loan for a business, like you talked about, invest in businesses, right? Um, it was a board game, and they've actually knocked the cover off the ball and made a ton of money with their board game. Kind of like the old school Trivial Pursuit. It's kind of what the board game is like. Anyways, yeah. So you know what I mean? It's like, okay, yeah, we'll jump in. In fact, there's a fine art. You can't buy fine art, but there's actually a securitized investment fund around insuring fine art. We've got that at our disposal with some of the groups we work with. So yeah, that's what we do. We actively manage. And along with that, again, we don't charge any ancillary fees at all. And I am going to take just 1 second here and kind of explain, okay, how are we paid? But we don't charge any ancillary fees for financial planning, tax planning. And I've built in my career, Greg, I have built north of, I mean, we're talking thousands of financial plans, right? And I love building those, because it's like, man, when I could sit down with somebody and say, okay, like I told you about my client, Lauren. Lauren's got this fourplex over here. And he's got, I mean, he actually has an Airbnb, a really awesome Airbnb. We talked about, and that's part of your financial plan. It's like, man, that makes my job so easy. You know what I mean? If you're
Yeah.
cash flowing, if your net operating income is 4 or 5, 6 grand a month from a property in your Roth, that makes my job very, very easy. So yeah, we do all that, the estate planning, all of that stuff. But primarily where we love it is, again, the self-directed world, because it just opens up so many more opportunities for clients. So yeah, let's take let me take 1 second. We talked about some client examples already. Um, and today's market's crazy. That's also why we like to be here. And even more so um, where the self-directed tool makes so much more sense. Because Greg, I love that you talked about that earlier in the call, or on the webinar, that things are volatile, right? I mean, there we'll go through periods in the market where you get a year or two that's really good, and everybody is a whiz when it comes to, hey, I know which stocks to pick. It's like, yeah, everybody's making money in the markets. Now you get to today, right? And the tariff wars and things like that, and people are just like, markets are at all-time highs. It's like, well, what do I do? Well, hey, I'll tell you what, my clients that have great real estate, my clients that are doing well in crypto, that are doing well in precious metals, having that extra piece to offset some of the other risks in the market and be a good diversification tool, it's invaluable. So, um, yeah, just 1 second too. Okay, so as an advisory firm, we're paid on the assets under management. So, and that may not even be assets that we're holding. We don't charge for that, right? So if we're not doing anything in your self-directed, if you're doing it somewhere else, we're not going to charge you for that. But we just charge anywhere from 0.5% to 1% total, and that's it. I want clients to also understand what we've also done is, so on the other side of the table with the stock and bond custodians, we don't have any fees there. We don't have any trading fees. We don't use very expensive mutual funds. A lot of clients, when I find mutual funds in portfolios with clients nowadays, I'm like, why? I'm telling you, there is like for every major mutual fund out there, there's a complementary ETF or exchange traded fund
Mhm.
that you could replace it with. That we're talking like the average exchange traded fund cost per year is 0.1%, and even a lot of them less than that. So you're talking like fractions of a penny a year in costs versus the average mutual fund with, when you talk about back end fees and marketing fees and all that, you're talking north of 1.5%.
Yeah.
So out the gate, we don't use expensive stuff, and we don't charge any other fees. So that's how we're structured. And really, just like you guys succeed as a company when your clients are out there able to succeed, and right, people get excited, and hey, they tell their friend, hey, Joe, look what I did in my portfolio. They come work with you, right? Same thing here. When we help our clients, really nail that self-directed piece, and when we help them maximize every dollar that they can, that's what we do. I love these two worlds. Again, I geek out, and I don't know of many other advisory firms that like both accounts. I love them because why? My clients make a heck of a lot more money. They're awesome.
Well,
So
yeah, I love ETFs. So I'm glad you brought that up. And look, in fees, it is a subject I'm going to spend a little more time on in the upcoming
yeah,
weeks as well. It is it is a big subject, bigger than I thought actually, and it shouldn't
yeah,
be, but I understand why it could be. And I think that what you just gave is a great example. Having a team that helps you make decisions that does not cost more, in fact, cost either the same or less,
or
but
less.
really
Yes,
takes care of your assets and wants to earn your business. An example, I know with you, what you just said, Ryan and Ty, you guys, you want to earn the business. So you're willing to do three or four or five other things
yeah.
just so you can earn a portion of
Well,
their portfolio. And I like that. And so, because I know a lot of
yeah,
clients, like I said, a lot of our clients have other accounts elsewhere.
yeah,
And so do I. And so I don't have all of my money at Horizon Trust Company. And so I like ETFs as well. And so, fees are a thing, but if you can limit them, like you just said, if you can get it
yeah,
1% less, and what I like to share also, not only save 1% per year, but also do it in a quicker manner. Like if you're able to get X percentage in a hard money loan, and
yeah.
that transaction, let's say, takes only 2 days with us, but 2 weeks with someone else,
Yeah.
I've just shown you how to pay basically for the whole year's fees because I'm 2 weeks faster than my competitors.
Oh,
It's a half a
and that's one
percent.
thing. Oh, I love that. And that's one thing I really love about you guys and your group is the saying time is money. There's a reason that that is such a common said thing, right? If you're waiting around for a deal or you're trying to make a bid on a project and you can't be fast like that, you're dead in the water. So yeah, I love it. I think the best term for it, Greg, is it's value. And
Yeah.
that's one thing I've seen the last 10 years in the marketplace. I think a lot of people are getting away from the traditional platforms that's just stock and bond. Because I hate when people get told no. We don't tell people no. But there's also kind of this old school, antiquated, like getting nickel and dimed. Today's consumer is so much more intelligent. And you're right, those fees, they just can't be there. And that's what I'm saying. There are no other fees that we charge. And I love to, the, right, value per cost. You guys, your value that you guys add per your cost. In fact, you guys are one of the best fee-based companies in the entire industry. But the value, in my opinion, is 10 times the amount. One last little quick thought. I'm going to circle back around, if you don't mind, on the. So when it comes to our management, because we do everything from very low risk to very aggressive. I've got portfolios that I manage in the marketplace that have done north of 40% last year, just in 2024. We're in 2025. One thing that I always focus on, I'm gonna just use one geeky nerdy for it, because I'm a master's in finance guy. I love finance. It's alpha, right? Alpha's, if you look at a benchmark, anything above the benchmark or what the basic return is alpha, right? And like again, being able to use a self-directed account, that helps generate alpha. Like you just talked about, making a quick hard money loan fast, that has great alpha. When I talk about us making our 0.5% to 1% a year, that's after we've created an alpha. And I'll give you an example. So like in 2022, when markets were, dropping, the average market portfolio was down 20%. Energy was doing amazing. And we used a lot of energy in our more aggressive portfolios. So we still had in fact, I only had two of my portfolios that were negative on the year. Most of my portfolios were still positive in that 5 to 10% range. That's the alpha. That's that value we try to bring. Now, you can't bring it every day. Nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow in the marketplace. But being very educated, it's like you can make good decisions, right? Like, hey, energy's killing it and the rest and tech's getting killed. Let's not hold tech right now, right? Let's hold energy. Or, hey, treasuries are doing really, really well. If you want no risk money, let's go hold treasuries for the next 6 months while we're waiting, right? That's that alpha we're trying to create, right? So if bonds are down 5%, but we can make 6% holding treasuries, that's alpha. That is every way, shape, and form that I've built my business. I want to make sure that my value, just like you guys at Horizon Trust, Greg, the
Mhm.
value to what you're paying is, you don't even think about it because there's so much value there. And that's how we build alpha and opportunity, just like what you guys create. So
Love it.
let's see. I'm going to just check real fast. We've already been talking a lot about how we build portfolios and whatnot, but yeah, I mean, I appreciate some time being on here. If you want me to dive in anything a little deeper, I'm happy to. I know we're going to open up to Q&A in a minute, but it really is. I talk to clients a lot about what we call the perfect portfolio. And again, I've been doing this for 23 years, 22, 23 years. Um, and I've seen lots and lots of clients come through the door. And really, Greg, it's not about whether you've got 20 million or 2 million. You can still be successful no matter how much you've been able to save and accumulate. But the perfect portfolio really does include tools like real estate, crypto, and you really can't accomplish that with just buying a real estate stock. You can't do that. And that's why I love the perfect portfolio. Truly does have that self-directed piece, and that's why I get super excited about it. And I love what you guys are doing with it. So
Well, can you, Ty, would you mind just sharing an example of maybe a recent or one of your, just an average client that works with us at Horizon Trust, that works with you, and kind of
yeah.
what they invested in? Obviously no names, but just in general, how that
Oh,
works.
yeah. So I mean, I don't want to turn this call into our private real estate syndication, but just last year alone, well, yeah, 2024 into early 2025. So we do have our own private real estate, right? Larger developments where we're pooling monies. We have over $130 million of gross equity real estate projects.
Mhm.
So we've funded that. But even then, I mean, talk about larger private, syndications that are 10, $20 million, right? but the fourplex I just talked about. I have a client doing some fix and flips down in North Carolina, right? Working on things like that. I mean, goodness, gold. We talked about the board game company. That was a client a couple of years back. But even more so too, like I said, what I've loved the most this last year, last 2 years really, is putting even some of those monies just in the treasuries, because
Yeah.
I love the idea of when I hear a client, hey, I'm making, I've got my self-directed monies or whatever, I've maybe sat it into a bank account or whatever, and it's making 1/4% a year. Let's put that in something that's making 6%, right? Like that to me is just that's huge. That's a win. Um, Trying to think of some other specifics.
Well, I mean, those are
Uh,
good. Those are good too.
yeah,
I just, so if I understand correctly, because look, I've learned there's half the people that we have on as guests are people I've either met or heard about, and they've come from clients that of ours, and then the other half, and you and Ryan fit in this boat, came from my staff and clients that know you guys, and they're like, hey, we really want to have these
yeah,
guys on, and I've heard about you guys now. I don't know for 6, 7, 8 months. And so for me that's indicative of okay, they're still around, and our clients still like them. It's been a couple
yeah,
years, and what I like also is you're giving. If you're listening to this and you're in that boat where you're looking at different asset classes, they can give you some advice on the documentation
yeah,
and or what they think, or unlike us, we're just going to make sure that it's done correctly, it's compliant, and it's
right.
titled correctly, and they can kind of give you some more insight, which I think is nice as well. So if you're in that boat and or have other cash elsewhere that's not with us at Horizon, they can help as well. It sounds like that's what I'm hearing as
Yeah,
well. So let's jump into some
love it.
questions, unless there's something else particular you wanted to go into here, Ty.
No, no, this is great. I will just say though, again, for guests on here, I'm telling you, I've been doing self-directed accounts, since 2009, 2010, right? 15, 16 years now. Greg, you kind of were minimizing what you guys do, right? And I appreciate that, right? Because yeah, I mean, you guys, I'm the fiduciary, you guys aren't. It is invaluable though working with a really, really, really good self-directed custodian. And I cannot express that enough that you guys have a very, very good platform, like insanely good. I love working with your team, because what it comes down to is at the end of the day, the clients, when they're facing us, ask us questions. I deal with clients that have frustrating experiences with custodians. I have not had that with you guys. You guys are very good. You keep, because that's what I'm saying. It's like you build a good team, right? When you've got a great team, great things happen. You guys are a very good team to have, very good group to have
Well,
on their
thanks.
side. So
I appreciate it. It's hard to take all the nice words. So thank you,
don't want to give
Ty.
you too
And
big of a head, but my pleasure. Yeah, no,
no big head. It's hard to hear sometimes, but it is nice to hear too. So thank you. Definitely have
no,
a great team. And so we're gonna go into questions, some questions
love it.
here and answer. And we're also going to bring Claudia on. And that being said, just a reminder for those that are new, and we, when we have guests, sometimes well, not sometimes we jump into that particular subject, and that's why we kind of alternate. And so if you were looking for more in particular about self-directing, schedule a call with us and see if some of this even works for you, or if you want to learn more. And the starting point really is if you're listening to this and you have an old 401k from a previous employer, or old TSA, or just some kind of qualified plan from a prior employer, and you're not sure if you can direct it the way you want and invest it the way you want, schedule an appointment with us. If you have an IRA of any sort, that does qualify. And you can schedule an appointment. We can talk to you about what self-directing is specifically, how it can work for you. And then if you're looking for additional services like what Ty and Ryan do, absolutely reach out to them. His email's on here as well, and you can reach out to them, or get with us and we can connect you with them, and then you can do your own kind of interview and due diligence with each other and see if it's the right fit. So that being said,
Love it.
again, sometimes I do get some feedback. I usually get a lot of thank yous, but I always get a couple that are like, hey, you didn't talk about self-directing. That's what I thought this webinar is about. We do, and we will. we also have a lot of people who want to know more about how to really dive deeper into these assets. And so thank you for, for those that are joining us. And let's jump into questions and answers, which is typically some of the best parts, because this is stuff that is coming from you guys that you're living and breathing every day. So uh,
Yeah.
go
And we
ahead and
usually,
Claudia, real quick. Introduce Claudia. If you don't know
Yeah.
Claudia, she oversees all new business. She is the pinnacle as far as relationships and communication at Horizon Trust. So if you haven't met her, you've probably met someone on her team, and she's here to serve as well. So, anyways, thanks Claudia for joining us today.
And she's awesome. We love Claudia. She's the best.
well, thank you. Thank you, Ty. We have a lot of questions on here, but I think we answered some of them while you guys were going through the presentation. So if you guys can go ahead and put your question if it wasn't answered, and then we'll go from there so that I'm not asking the same things that they already went over. So
Love it.
it looks like somebody is saying, Ty, so you have eval syndications. What's your experience level on different asset types, like
Yeah.
and industrial, etc.?
Love it. In fact, so yeah, I mean, going all the way back to 2000, like I said, one of the first projects I did was a mixed use commercial property, industrial and office. And I mean, I want to say it was around $30 million, $35 million was the total acquisition price. So yeah, real estate asset class, you name it, I've dealt with it. And again, I'm not trying to go back to our own stuff, but land development, we have a self-storage development project that we're doing right now, a private syndication. So I love it. Love this private side of real estate. It's awesome. And with higher interest rates right now, it's kind of hard to make a smaller one-off deal, a condo, townhome. It's hard to make those pencil right now, right? So yeah, looking at some of those different asset classes are invaluable. But yeah, lots of experience, 20 years plus. We love having that tool. And again, this is why we self-direct, right? This is why we work with good guys like Greg and people like Claudia. It's one thing to find a good deal, but to have the right tool to structure everything is invaluable. So yeah, a lot of work with it. Love it.
Perfect. This question is for Greg. I own a business and have employees, so I cannot do self-directed.
You can do self-directed. It
Yep.
is just a different type of account that you'll set up. We actually are in discussions with being able to create and open up 401k plans for you and your staff, your whole company. But currently, the only kind of 401k plans that we can set up self-directed would be for those that have a sole proprietor. So just you and or your
Well,
spouse. Go ahead, Ty.
and Greg, I hope you don't mind me jumping in. I definitely don't want to step on toes. We don't create employer-sponsored plans, but I will tell you this because I love that you answered that question, Greg. I've seen that all the time where employers are like, well, dang, I've got employees, I can't do my solo. Okay. It's like, no, you can. And on the employer-sponsored side, we've got a group that we work with. It's a plan administrator. You're talking a few $100s a year is all they charge. The average cost is like not close to 10 grand a year. We've got a group we've worked with that are phenomenal, right? And you can establish it very, 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 very inexpensively, and then create your solo K depending on your exact business structures. But yeah,
Well,
your
no, I'm
Greg is
glad you
spot
interrupted me
on.
on that. So, hey, Claudia, let's get with
Oh, it's
Ty because
awesome.
so let's see if there's a connection there. So the quick answer I'll give you
Absolutely.
is currently we don't set those up for you at Horizon. Hopefully that changes with the right relationships and
Yes.
will help us with
Love
that.
it.
That being said, you still can open up a self-directed IRA plan. It just wouldn't be a 401k. Most likely, depending upon we don't know your situation, but you could set up a traditional, potentially a SEP or simple or Roth account. As well as funding your own company 401k. That would require a phone call with us. If you just schedule a call, we can find out what you currently have and or just ask your CPA. Your CPA is going to know everything about you. And so they'll tell you which
Yeah.
accounts you can set up and then let us know and we'll get those set up for you. So you can have a self-directed and also a 401k where you're currently your company sponsored one. So yeah.
Love it.
I have Michelle that's saying, I've spoken with your team at Horizon and I am at the right place at the right time. I'd love to connect with Ty and have a conversation. So Ty, how can they reach you if they're already clients of ours and they need to
Uh,
go ahead and get a consultation with
yeah.
you?
So my email's up here. Claudia, yeah. So Ty at My Prosper Team or myprosperteam.com. Actually, too, I bought the way back when I bought the domain bestselfdirected.com. So I own that URL that pings you to my website. But Claudia, do you mind also too, where is it that they find us on your website? I can't remember the exact spot.
horizontrust.com slash investment corner. So on our investment corner, every client has the ability to go on there. You're on as the stock in the stock market
Yeah.
tab. So you can definitely get their
Yep.
information there.
And look,
Love
we'll connect you. I mean, there's no secrets here. And so if
Yeah.
you email us a scheduled appointment and you want to know more, we'll connect you. So you use that information or just contact. If you're a client of ours, just shoot us an email. We'll get right back to you. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
If you guys want to go ahead and put more questions on here, we have a lot of people, but we don't have a lot of questions. So anything that we can answer or Greg and Ty can answer, we're happy to go over it. Okay, Jennifer is saying, what is the minimum to open an account? I'm a realtor with 140,000 in cash, and it has just been sitting in a high interest savings account. I was going to invest it in a condo, but as you mentioned, it is hard to pencil out. So we can get both of your guys' perspectives.
Yeah, Greg, go ahead. Why don't you start with that? Or do you want me to?
Well,
Either way.
yeah, I mean, it just, I would schedule a call, but the quick answer is we can essentially or potentially open up a 401k for you if you have your own business, your own LLC, being your own business. We can create a 401k plan, which you can then contribute to. And that's probably the best way to max contribute into a self-directed account. So, not to get too tied up in a 401k, but that will allow you, depending upon how much money you make, and to fund anywhere from probably, it sounds like 20,000 all the way up to $70,000 in a contribution. So that's one thing that
Love
we
it.
can do for you, or we can just help you set up a simple Roth account or a simple or SEP. So I would say the first thing you should do, answering your question here, is do a quick call, 30-minute phone call. Let's find out a little bit more about you and your goals and what you want to invest in. By the way, you can do that with us and or Ty. The same, so, have two different conversations and get two different opinions. I think they'll be real similar, but also a little bit different. And that's okay to have a couple different opinions. And then the most important thing to do is action, is do it. I can't tell you when people say what you just said, they got this money sitting around, and then a year from now, they say the same thing. They get this money sitting around. So taking action, even with a small portion, even if it's with $25,000, $50,000, and doing something with it, getting the 8 to 12 or 15% rate of returns, you'll be much
Yeah.
happier a year from now. So that would be my answer: is schedule appointment, take action, get a couple opinions, and then kind of move from there. But go ahead, Ty. I don't know if you answered any differently. I want to add.
Yeah, no, I love that. That's the biggest key takeaway here is just you got to be proactive, right? You got to be involved. As far as like you were talking about I think it was Jennifer that had the money. Yeah, I love that idea of being able to start getting that into the retirement side of stuff and really becoming more tax efficient on the self-directing side. And yeah, getting that going in the marketplace is awesome. So typically, just so everybody knows, our minimums are typically $500,000. But on the self-directed side and with Horizon Trust, we don't have minimums because what we like doing is we love working with these self-directed accounts. I've got an awesome team. We've got 9. So with an affiliate company, we've got 9. When I say affiliate, so I also have another business partner who's a separate advisory firm. He came to us. He's like, "Hey, I love what you guys are doing. I don't want to reinvent the wheel. Help us self-direct." So we've got 9 advisors that we have at our disposal, and we can jump in and take any client size. So happy to help.
Awesome. So we have somebody that's asking, what do you think about investing in Bitcoin and other cryptos? It's Greg's favorite subject.
Yeah, Greg, I'm excited to hear your thoughts on that. I'll jump in too. In
Well,
just a
I got to
second.
tell you, my tune has changed after a lot of these webinars and introductions I've had, and so we recently had Braden Shaw on this last week, and or maybe the last couple weeks, and he talked about precious metals and talked about Bitcoin and the differences of them, and he said, look, if I was going to invest 1% of my assets, 1% into something, I would choose Bitcoin over, when I say, as far as those two assets go. And the reason why he said that was because he felt like there's more upside. Sure, there's potentially more downside, but there's more upside as far as this kind of growth rather than, you know, precious metals is more kind of like this typically.
Yeah.
And when he said 1%, I was like, you know what? I can do that. And I can stomach whatever 1% does for me of my portfolio and potentially ride that train. So that's how I feel, as if, you know, 1%, go for it and see how it goes. To me, I just don't know that game near as much. So I stick to what I know.
Yeah.
But if you want to get into Bitcoin, I'm not totally against it. I would just say do a small percentage. Don't go all in.
Yeah, that is so smart, and that's where, again, I've done this long enough. I've seen, um, um, so many different things that people get excited about, and again, the difference is I love what you said with the 1%, and even too. I mean, hey, if you've got 5, 10, 15%, it's no wrong answer for you, right? It's what you feel like is the best thing for you. What you don't want is 100% in anything. If you've got 100% in anything, that's one of the biggest mistakes you'll ever see in a portfolio, right? So yeah, it's being judicious and having the right amount in the right portfolio. That really is the perfect portfolio. I've seen thousands of clients, some that are very, very successful in retirement, and some that it's going to take a Hail Mary to make sure that they can get through retirement. And I'll tell you what, it doesn't have to do with the dollar amount, right? It has to do with the investment decisions and how good they are at, being able to manage, their budget, their life.
Yeah.
And that perfect portfolio, it does have those alternative elements, right? It really does. So I love it. Love having it in there. It's a great piece.
Yeah. I have Don here that's asking, my daughter-in-law has a 403B. Is there something better she could be doing instead?
If your daughter-in-law has a 403B where she's currently employed, and Ty, if you got something different, she most likely needs to leave it where it's at. But she still, she can invest differently inside her 403B. It's not something that she can do. It's self-directed. If it's an old 403B from where she used to work, then yes, that's absolutely something that we can help on. Ty can help on. So yeah. And then what she should invest in, that's a longer conversation, one-on-one call.
Yeah, great point. And you're absolutely right. What I am seeing more and more of nowadays is, you are seeing more plans that allow for early rollouts so that people can pull their monies out of. But so yeah, most likely if she's younger, if she's still employed with that group, yeah, it's got to stay there. Not specifically for her, but I will say that is something we do again, and we don't charge on that. That's just a service that we provide where, like I've got thousands of clients with self-directed accounts. We're helping them manage the stuff in the self-directed. We're helping them manage the stock and bonds. And oh yeah, they've got a 401k with their current employer over here, or a 403b. Again, we're not charging for that, but we're looking at how it's invested. Just like you said, Greg, the 101, right? Are you, and in fact, when I'm working with somebody that may be a new client, there's something I love it when they're in a target date fund, because it's so easy to improve your returns over a target date fund. And that's most people, that's just what they're like, well, I don't know what to do. I'm going to buy a target date fund, right? And I love that because I look at it and I'm like, oh, we can do so much good for you, right? We can get in and we can help you maximize your returns in that portfolio. So Greg, you hit the nail on the head. She may not be able to move it, but you can be much more efficient inside of that 403b with what she's doing. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a lot of people that are asking, are we getting the recording? Yes. So we will go ahead and send out the recording before the end of the day. And you can go ahead and look through it. And if we missed anything, just let us know or schedule your appointment.
This is one of those webinars where, I usually, I did start, and I usually say, hey, we are not advisors, we're not we're not attorneys or CPAs, but that's still the case for us at Horizon. But we do have an advisor on here with us today, so feel free to reach out to him. And really appreciate everyone's time. If there's no more questions, I think we wrapped up. Thanks. We try to be present and good with everyone's time. So thanks everyone for listening. Ty, thanks for being here. Hey, thanks for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. There's lots more great content for you to learn and enjoy and apply to. And so anyways, click on the link below and listen to more videos or set an appointment with us. We look forward to hearing from you and also helping you.